Well, it's a good afternoon. We welcome you to Cricket 360. It'll be another exciting episode that we're coming to you live. We're not in Uganda, not in Kampala, but this time we're coming live from Nigeria, Abuja to be specific. My name is Tawanda Eli, and as always, I don't walk alone. Not that I'm a Liverpool fan, but yeah, Manchester United is what I support. Right now, we're talking cricket, and as always, there's always guests on this program, the usual suspects, as I will call them. This time around, I have the honor of John Mukokwe, Dennis Musali, and for the first time featuring in Cricket 360, it'll be Innocent Ndaula, a man that comes highly rated when it comes to cricket, especially in both East and West Africa. Fantastic. Gentlemen, it's a good afternoon. Oh, good afternoon to you. All right, we will get into the thick of things. We are coming to you live for the ICC Sub-Regional Qualifier C that is happening out in Nigeria, Abuja. Two spots that are available for grabs for the final Africa qualifier that will be played sometime next year. We don't know when, might be September, might be in October, but it is going to come. Teams have already qualified others. Now we need to find the last two. Gentlemen, we're almost towards the end of this tournament, but I would just love to get into it. We'll start off with Innocent. What has been your take at how these teams have fared with a day to go? It's very easy. The tournament has played out as per the rankings. There's been daylight between the top ranked teams in this tournament, Team Nigeria, who are 36 in the world, and Botswana, who are at 50. And the rest of the guys have been playing second fiddle to them. The results do tell the full story. And the two will be fighting it out to see who takes the Holy Grail for Qualifier C, and should be nice. A game that everyone will be waiting to watch and see who takes it all, because there's only one trophy here. One trophy it is. Dennis, I'll come to you. Has there been any surprise performances from the teams that you've seen playing so far?
Yeah, I think the only surprise performance so far in the statistics is who's the leading run scorer of the tournament. As the captain of the Kingdom of Eswatini, Adil Bat is on top of those batting cards. But other than that, I think there haven't been any surprises. Personally disappointed that Sierra Leone didn't push the envelope, especially on the first two teams that Innocent mentioned. I thought they could have done much better, try and maybe upset the odds, but hasn't happened. Ivory Coast have come here fortunate. I was talking about it with John today. Fortunate in two tournaments where the records in T20 cricket have gone down. In Kenya, of course, the highest score by Zimbabwe against Gambia. And then in this tournament, the lowest score in T20 cricket, Ivory Coast and Nigeria. So there hasn't really been any upsets or any teams that have upset the odds. It's just gone according to script. And after match day 4, Nigeria and Botswana, comfortably in the Africa finals.
Comfortably in the Africa finals. John, what I would like to ask you is, taking a look at Nigeria being the host nation, has there been any point in time in the tournament that they've been under pressure?
Yeah, definitely. I think Eswatini put them under immense pressure. Adil Bat scoring in excess of 80 against them. Hit them for some massive sixes, I believe. He hit about 6 in that innings. So he definitely put the opening bowlers under pressure. Even the captain, Sylvester Okpe, did acknowledge him and say, look, he did put our seamers a bit to task, and that's an area they can improve in. Apart from that, I think also in terms of their play, they haven't really played even their best game yet, I would say. Yesterday, chasing a 10 and over, I think they went really, really well. But they're still missing that complete game from there. Today, they did win as well, but a couple of easy drop catches, about 3 sitters dropped in the deep. So not ideal, not a bit untidy from them, but it's going to be a crack of a game tomorrow, Botswana versus Nigeria, I think, in the afternoon. Last game. Let's hope the crowd can come out and support their host nation.
All right, talking about the game that many will be looking forward to tomorrow, Dennis, that'll be Nigeria versus Botswana. What can we expect from the host Nigeria? What has been their key areas that has allowed them to be where they are?
I think Nigeria, first of all, have been led very well. Sylvester Okpe has been brilliant. He's developed, I think, as a leader. He's more dynamic. He's been the most dynamic of captains. So he's thinking on his feet, making the right bowling changes. They've made the adjustments that they need to, especially when they're coming to play. For Botswana, I think they've also done well. They haven't been pushed so much, but they've made sure once they got the win against Sierra Leone on match day number 2, I think that gave them the confidence they needed to go through the rest of the tournament. So different kind of team. Botswana, both teams haven't played to, like Jonah said, haven't played to their maximum. I think it's the first time today for Nigeria to have most of their batting really tested, for them to bat all the way up to about number 7. Same thing for Botswana. They haven't. You're hoping that tomorrow both sides can be able to push each other. bit similar in style, but you still feel that Nigeria have the edge over Botswana. But if they drop the ball, Botswana can be able to clean them up.
All right. Many, according to the statistics, will be looking at Nigeria as the team to walk away tops in tomorrow's encounter. But however, Innocent, what can make Botswana outstanding in that encounter? What could make it be their day?
The tactical nous of the captain of Botswana, Karabo Motlanka, a man nicknamed Skara, of course, a very good friend of all of us here, should be key. Today, you saw what he did, immediately seeing that the Pacers were not doing anything. He brought on the spinners, they slowed down things, and had Eswatini, who were, I beg your pardon, St. Helena, who were 43 for 1 to lose their last 9 wickets for 35 runs in 12 overs. That was quite a performance from the slow bowlers. He himself turning up 2 for 11 in 4 overs. And then you look at how the other guys have come through. Of course, Karabo getting a fine knock, his first half century since 2023 in Benoni on 11th December against Ghana, where he got 88 from 66. But today, Karabo getting a good look ahead of a big game for me, which is the final. And then the guys that are the leadership on the group, on the team, Reginald Nehonde, very good hands. Also a spinner who has been used sparingly. Valentine Bazo, the keeper batter, is done very well. And then the experience of the man who has played some cricket in Australia, taken a break from work, Tarinu Pereira, has been very vital alongside the guys who's coming back into the team, Moleki Mokesi Mula.
All right, those are the insights for tomorrow's game between Nigeria and Botswana as to what we can look forward to from both sides. Nigeria being well led, as well as Botswana. They have a couple of surprises, players that really haven't been put to the test, but they have the ability to carry their team through. So those will be essential aspects that can make tomorrow's game very exciting. And now, gentlemen, I'll come to you. We're not looking now at the teams that have done well, but those that have been on the receiving end. I'm talking about the bottom two. That will be Sierra Leone and St. Helena. Where do you start in terms of taking notes of what they need to go home and rectify? I'll start off with you, Dennis, and then come to John.
Yeah, I think difficult to talk about the bottom 3 teams. But for Cote d'Ivoire, I think for them this is the first time experience. Nothing to lose team. They were bundled out for 7, but in the games after that, they've always been looking at batting first, and they've shown the improvement from 30 runs yesterday to 40 today, and playing out 19 overs today, by the way. So it shows that for them, there are a lot of teams that have been where Cote d'Ivoire is, and on the experience of us doing commentary for the games as far as back as 2021, we saw how Cameroon came through, Eswatini and Lesotho, and the improvements they've been able to make. So for them, I think they've had a very good experience. They can only get better from here. The only way is up for them. For St. Helena, I don't know, very best kit in the tournament, I would say. But I think the difference for them has been the bowling. It just hasn't been good enough. They've had the batting to try and match the other teams, but their bowling has always been has looked very, very ordinary. They put a good total on the board against Botswana, against Nigeria, but and then the bowling was really all over the place. So they were easy pickings. The disappointing team that you feel could challenge the other 3, the top 2 was really Sierra Leone. They are much better than they did show in the tournament. They could have done much better, but again, sometimes their captaincy on the field has been one way. Not too much thought process about how they want to go about things, who should bowl when, and when who should not bowl when. So it's just been a bit of all over the place for them, and hopefully they can be able to sort that out. They're very, very good teams. They work very hard. They come from difficult conditions for them to come and play on surfaces like this. So sometimes they need to be rewarded for all the effort they put in. But the problem is when you keep doing that, even other teams are trying to level up. So your results may not match the effort as much as other teams. And maybe finally for Eswatini, great improvements for them. They rely a lot on Adil but all round, I think they're a team that is continuing to push things, and hopefully we can do them. Maybe sometime to come, we'll see them in the Africa finals.
Now, John, any more additions as to the list of notes or the Bible of notes for the border team?
I think definitely the leadership would be a key area. If you St. Helena, in the previous qualifiers in Rwanda, they had Scotty, who was at the helm in that regard. In this stage now, he was opening the batting and not captaining anymore. Yes, he got some good runs, but I don't think their captain sort of maybe was able to adjust on the fly accordingly. And then similar to Sierra Leone, I think Lamine struggled at times, perhaps being a new captain or something also new for him. So that's an area where perhaps maybe someone like George Ngagba could have maybe taken the realms for such a key tournament. And then their batting lineup for Sierra Leone was just all over the show, just moving all up and down. Today they had Bangura up at 3, and they don't really have a settled sort of plan of what they want to do. So that was an area where I felt like they need to have settled top 4 or 5.
Right.
You had the man who was up at the run charts, George Ngagba, moving down to 6 today in a critical game against the host nation. So that was also something I felt that just really they lacked direction in a lot of key moments in the tournament, and that's what lost. Just like he said, they didn't perform to their best. They definitely are better side than they showed. They had Botswana against the ropes and they let them off. So it's things like that where when you do have a side against the ropes, you need to put them away. They'll get better, but there's very experienced side. That's the problem. They've played a lot of cricket together and they're still making the same mistakes. And that's an area of concern that they need to adjust. The longer you play together as a side, you should getting better and we should see a gradual improvement. So they'll need to sort of show the world that they can improve and they can adjust for sure. Yeah.
Lots to take away in terms of notes for those teams that have been at the bottom. We're trying to bisect and dissect this qualifier C out here in Nigeria. I'm going to give these gentlemen a breather as we'll be taking a look at the table in terms of how the teams fared out at the moment before the last set of games that are to be played tomorrow. Why I say I'm giving them a breather, because I need them to think about their best 12 of the tournament. Yes, there is a day to go in terms of the games to be played, but 12 players that they need to pick as the best ones. So if you divide 12 by the 3 gentlemen here, they need to give us 4 players apiece that they think have been the best. So I'm going to break it down. I'll leave the openers to John Mukoko as an opening batter. Middle order, I'll give it to Dennis Msali. Then the lower order of the team, I'll leave it to Innocent Daola. He'll pick either the spinners or the pacers in terms of bowlers while they will fare off. So John, we will start with you. Top of the order in terms of the best players that have stood out for you.
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? I think the easy route would be to go with the Centurions, being Vinu Balakrishnan of Botswana and also Salim Salau of Nigeria. They both had great tournament centuries in the tournament, but there obviously has been some exceptional batting from Adil Bhatt as well. The top, so he'd argue for that spot as well. Difficult one.
No, come on, give us your first 2.
Yeah, the first 2 I'd go for Vinu and Salim Salah.
All right, number 3.
Yeah. Number 3, I'd drop down to Adil Bhatt.
Adil Bhatt. Then lastly, number 4.
Ooh, number 4. That's a difficult one, is it? I'd say for me, number 4, I'd go for Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent. Potentially, I'd go for George Ngagba of Sierra Leone.
He goes with George Ngagba. Now that's the top order. We move into the middle order where Dennis Msali will come in, where you give us your all-rounders, your finishers, so to say. Where do we go with the number 5?
I think I'll start with Isaac Danladi for Nigeria. He's been a powerful young man. He's packs a punch. So I'll go with Isaac Danladi. I saw him bowling a couple of overs today. For the keeper, I would like to go with Solomon Ronshawe, but he's been batting at the top order. But I think he can slot in there a little bit. The all-rounders, I'm still thinking through them. Yeah, Isaac, I'll go for his brother. And he will be the captain of the team for me. Sylvester has been very, very brilliant. He's bold when the team is under pressure. That's what you want your leader to do. He doesn't shy away from the responsibility. So I'll go with Isaac Okpe. Sylvester Okpe as the captain of the team. Then I'm trying to find someone who can slog it later on and can hit the wrong ball. If you look through the teams, you can ask for help from Isaac Okpe as well. The 2 Okpe brothers. I think Isaac has sort of changed in the way he plays, and it shows the quality of a player who's developing and learning their skill. He's been bowling in the middle overs, bowling a lot of change, off-pace deliveries and things like that. So I think those will be my Okpe.
Number 8, one more player.
One more player. Come to him when Innocent is still talking.
Innocent, you're now giving us sort of the last 3 plus your 12th man.
Well, it's been for me a spinners tournament.
Yeah.
They've done very well, but you've got to pick up 2 pace bowlers because there's no substitute for pace all over the world. If you're quick, and you create fear into the batters. So for me, right up there, Peter Aho, a man I call the Edu Express, and George Sese of Sierra Leone, who take those parties. They've been picking up wickets up front and picking up wickets at the very end. at the death. And then for the one spinner, look around and look and see who takes these flowers. Well, a couple of spinners already sneaked through the team, but because Nigeria already has someone, I won't give it to Ridwan Abdul Karim. I'll give it to Barry Stroud, the man from St. Helena, who's been picking up wickets every time he's come to bowl for his team, even in losing causes. Yes. And the 12th man, Muhammad Ridwan Abdul Karim.
I think that's the name I was looking for. Yeah, that's gone out of my head. Imagine we mentioned some very good players. I've not even spoken about the guy who's the leading wicket taker, Moleki Moheti, who's he doesn't even fit in the team, but somehow it's been a very good pick. I wanted to go with the name I'd phone, but it has just gone out of no, the Abbas Blah for Sierra Leone. I think he's hit out a couple of bowlers, and I think it's only fair that someone in that team. Okay, John mentioned Geba, but I think all the other guys, those pace bowlers have done very well. So Sierra Leone has 3 players in who have really stood out in the tournament.
All right, players that have stood out in the tournament. There is a big 12 that have been mentioned by this panel of commentators. I'll give them also a moment to discuss for their player of the tournament while the list of 12 players comes up on your screen, and then they can have a little chat as to who is their player of the tournament. A quick vote, gentlemen. Who has stood out the best for you in this whole entire tournament? I know usually we'll pick up department by department, if that's the way that you want to go with it. Best batter, best bowler, and best captain as well in the whole entire tournament.
Best batter, I've been surprised by the 2 openers for Nigeria. I didn't know so much about them, but they've shown that they're fearless as young men. So I'll go with Salim Saleh for me. He stood out as a batter. He got the century as well. The only other player to get a century. Most of the other guys, Vino, no offense to them, but they've been around the park, so they have the experience. Best bowler for me in terms of leading the bowling and my captain, I've been very impressed by Sylvester. I know him personally, but I think he's developed very well. He's shown that he can lead the team. And for me, his dynamic captaincy reminds me of how Brian Masawa is. It bats up the order now. He's batting at number 5. He used to bat a bit late. So I always used to tell him that as a captain, you also need to you may be a bowler, but you need to make a contribution with the bat, because the guys you're speaking to are batters. So, and I saw him batting ahead of Ridwan Karim, people who are, you'd feel more competent batters than him. But that shows that he's backing himself and he's going to walk out there, even if the team is trouble, and do the job. And for me, I think he'll be my player of the tournament.
John?
Yeah, I think similar for him. I think for me, for player of the tournament, it's been such good contributions all around. But I would be tempted to also give it to someone like Muluki for Botswana. Yes, it might seem like I'm sticking to my countrymen. Well, but I think he's been a game wrecker really for Botswana. He's come in and he's wrecked games for the opposition. And he's just been such a game changer, I think, whenever he's come on. But he hasn't done it alone. I think Katso Pete also deserves a bit of mention as well.
Botswana players are standing for you.
Muluki definitely standing out for me. In terms of with the bat, I'd go with him as well. What he said, definitely Salim. He stood out. Both openers really for Nigeria have been sensational. Young players, believed 19 and 20, 23, somewhere there. So still developing in their game, and it's exceptional to see. And then in terms of, that'll be Muluki would be the bowler. Batter would go to Salim. And then in terms of player of the tournament,
Tough one.
it is, isn't it? Well, because it seems like players have been contributing in one discipline and that's the other. But if I had to sort of put my arm out there, I'd definitely go with his selection as well. I'd say the Nigerian captain, Sylvester Ope.
Okay. Sylvester coming up twice, innocent.
I'll go away from the normal script. I don't want to do copy and paste. And for me, the player of the tournament is a guy who leads from the front. He can bowl some lively pace up front. He's a live wire in the field. He sets out his instructions and are clear. You drop a catch, he gives it to you there and then, and there is no love lost going forward. And when he comes to bat, he instills fear into the opposition team right from the start. Adil Bat. It's been a one-man army, a lone ranger for his team, but he's clearly set the record straight. And the other guy, a man who shed some skin. He has some disciplinary issues back at home with Sierra Leone cricket. He's shed some skin, and he's come back into the team. He's much calmer, and he wants to concentrate onto his game. Arguably, the only associate player to ever win a deal from an equipment making company. That the company won't get plaudits for me, but George Ngegba. Those two standing out for me. And then Adil Bat, although from a team that has punched below their weight is my player of the tournament.
Fantastic choices. I would love to agree with Innocent Dawola when it comes to Dilbat. He's been outstanding in terms of his leadership, run scoring, never fear. Doesn't show any sign of fear at all. But however, it's just been the team surrounding him that have let him down, but he's definitely been one to look out for. So those stats will come up of what these gentlemen have said, what has been outstanding for them. Now, we move away from this tournament. We now know definitely Nigeria and Botswana will be moving on into the next stage where they meet the rest of the teams that have qualified. You look at that list, it will come up on your screen and have a fine look at it. There are lots of big names that are there. And yeah, some big names. Gentlemen, what do you think of the final set of those teams that will be in the final Africa qualifier where we have Tanzania, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Kenya, and now it'll be Botswana and Nigeria coming through? Is that the best that Africa has in terms of being there to say that? And you complete that list with the addition of truly Uganda and Namibia.
Well, they say men lie, women lie, but statistics don't lie. And are right to consider the top ranked teams from every qualifier from A, B, C, right from A, where Malawi and Tanzania reigned on the day, then in B, where you and Dennis were, Kenya and Zimbabwe coming through head above our shoulders, clearly there. And then right here, Tanzania, I beg your pardon, right here, Nigeria and Botswana going through. It tells you these are the finest teams in the continent. And for Namibia and Uganda, who already had a bite at the cherry, Namibia, of course, have gone to 3 World Cups. Uganda had a chance to go one after edging out Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe will come baying for blood. It's going to be bloody, but it's going to be fiery. And I tell you, whoever snoozes, they will lose out on a very big ticket to go to the World Cup again in 2026 when Asia hosts it with Sri Lanka and India. So for me, well, let's wait. September, October cannot come any quicker. But for now, hold your horses because the best cricket in Africa is right onto your doorstep early 2025.
Yeah, I think there've been no surprises apart from Malawi and Botswana.
Right.
All the other teams were at the Africa finals in Namibia last year. And for Malawi, I think for them it's going to be an experience.
Right.
Playing against Namibia, playing against Zimbabwe, playing against Uganda. Of course, they played against Uganda and Namibia. I think they played against Namibia in the qualifiers, but they've never played against Zimbabwe. And I remember in Kenya, Peter Ngondo used to mention that for them that will be their World Cup. They don't even need to go to the extra step. For them, that is their World Cup. So, but of course, you still know that the standout teams will be Uganda, Zimbabwe, Namibia. But you can't count out teams like Kenya. Kenya have the experience now. Tanzania have the experience. So you can't count them out. It's going to be, I think this is the best, to answer your question, this is the best that Africa has to offer. These are the probably the top teams in Africa in men's T20 cricket. And that should be a proper exhibition of African cricket at its best. Depending on where the tournament is hosted.
Key question.
There could be surprises.
Yeah.
Depending on where the tournament is hosted. But wherever it will be, I'm sure now it's going to be for Uganda. They need to prove that the other one wasn't a one-off, wasn't a fluke. They earned the right to be there. For you to go back again is going to be the hard work for them. But we'll leave that to them. But Zimbabwe, most definitely, from what I saw in Kenya, they were already thinking way ahead. They were probably thinking about which group shall we be in at the World Cup. But they know now that the experience in Namibia gave them the understanding that this is the passage you have to take to get there. You can't get there without going through this. And I think they're going to be very, very well prepared. I would virtually give them the bye to the World Cup and then think that 3 other teams will fight the other lone slot to go to the World Cup.
Yeah, I agree, Dennis. I think it's going to be a crack of a tournament. What you also look at is the lower ranked side. It's going to be such a fight for every inch out there. And they're going to have to really punch way above their weight class in terms of facing teams such as Kenya and Uganda and the likes of Zimbabwe and Namibia as well. So it's going to be really, really difficult for teams. It's going to be an experience for teams like Botswana, Malawi, Tanzania to an extent as well to sort of come up to that level. Though they've got some exposure, Tanzania, but I wouldn't say they've got that ultimate exposure of playing against and competing against those kind of sides. So it's going to be interesting. The upsets are going to be interesting to have a look at as well because T20 cricket is a funny game. It's almost like penalty shootout. Anything can happen. You need to be on your mark. So it's going to be a crack of a tournament. And I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Definitely looking forward to it. Zimbabwe, they will need to come with their best team. A lot will be expected from them. They'll be carrying the target for many teams. And you did see what happened out in Namibia. They suffered 2 losses to Namibia and Uganda, and they paid a heavy price for it. So they need to redeem themselves because a lot of expectations, apart from the rest of Africa, but also just from the Zimbabwean fans themselves, they expect a lot from that team. Will they live up to the expectation? We never know. We're yet to see that one in the next set of this Africa final qualifier. Still yet to find out where it will be hosted, and we're still yet to find out whether this team also will be there. But we will definitely love that front row seat to bring you all of that action and more. Now, gentlemen, I would love to cut it short here. We might come back tomorrow again with another exciting episode as we take a look at just the bites and beasts of this entire tournament that we've had right here, the Sub-Regional Qualifier C out here in Abuja, Nigeria. But quickly, gentlemen, I move away from cricket as we part. What has been outstanding for you in Abuja? John, what has been the hallmark of Abuja trip to you?
I think the weather for sure. First time around 2 years ago, when I came here, it was raining. There was a few washouts. So to get some good cricket full time always, it's been fantastic. And the people are always amazing. The food is great. Lovely scenery. So yeah, I've loved every moment of it.
Right, Dennis?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest advantages of what we do and the privilege, it's not even an advantage, I think it's a privilege, is that we get to meet a lot of people where on our journey on doing what we do. And we know so many people here that have been very, very helpful in just making sure that we're comfortable. So first of all, big appreciation to Nigeria Cricket Federation, Endurance, Ricky, the guys that we know, of course, even the president, Mr. Owi. So a lot of guys, the general manager, Mr. Emeka, they do a lot of stuff just behind the scenes to make sure we're very comfortable. Of course, Martin from the ICC as well. But one, I've been challenged. I work for Uganda Cricket, and our facilities are not yet to this level. But I think as Uganda Cricket, this is something that we need to take away. We were in Ghana this year, and Ghana is sort of at this level. They have a similar sort of arrangement. And I think as Uganda Cricket, we have the resources, but we just haven't been intentional in making sure we come through on the promise of us having this sort of facilities. So I think I've been challenged. When you travel, you know that your mom is not the best cook. So I'm just making sure I've been challenged that hopefully that we can always, move that progress very, very quickly. But apart from it has been a bit hot. My Pepe experience not a very good one. I'm a man who likes sweet things. But when you go to Japan, you don't complain about eating sushi.
Right.
So the jollof always very amazing. The food is very tasty, just a touch hot, but always very, very tasty. Nigeria, a lovely place to come as always.
How fun now?
Innocent. Very easy for me. 2 years ago, I was here in Abuja. It was raining cats and dogs, almost fighting to get the games through. We had a stream that almost went off every time the game started. I won't talk about the company, but I can tell you that for me, the standout in Nigeria, and I've been lucky to be in Lagos as well, but the standout for me in Abuja is the calmness of the place.
Yeah.
Everything seems to fall into place nicely, and everyone is very hospitable. They look at you and they fall in love with you. They're eager to ask, are you from Zambia? Are you from Malawi? And some of them have been listening from me. I told them I'm from West Indies because I know many of them don't know where the West Indies is. But the pick out point for me here has been that the infrastructure in Nigeria has been developing sky high. And for me, for the president to come out and say another facility like this is coming through in Edo State, in Benin City, where the girls are camping with Dennis's very good friend, Sarah Bakita Wetoto, to prepare for the World Cup is amazing. When we came here with John Mokokwe in 2022 for the under-19 Division 2 World Cup qualifiers, the infrastructure wasn't like this. And for me, lessons learned, like Dennis, who works for the association back at home in Uganda, says, we've got a lot of lessons to learn as Uganda Cricket, and we'll learn them very quickly because it looks like the sky will be the start for Nigeria.
Definitely outstanding remarks from this gentleman. For me, it has been everything. The hospitality from the minute that you just get off the plane coming through to Nigeria has been amazing. Their food, their array, their taste buds have been absolutely magnificent. I'll show you some clips from where we were hosted by the president of the Nigerian Cricket Federation out for a night with everybody around. It was magnificent. The music, the dance, just the camaraderie as African cricket coming through for this tournament. Absolutely amazing. The voices in the commentary book, perfect. The gentlemen that are behind the scenes, they've done a wonderful job with the surfaces that you look at, how they've been able to bring cricket to you at such high quality. It's been amazing. The production team led by David behind the scenes, the streaming and everything, ICC TV, how they've taught on this and giving Africa the opportunity to present its best foot front forward. Absolutely amazing. Abuja Nigeria, we give you the tick for being hospital to us. You've been nice to everyone. We look forward to another tournament wherever you host it. Please do remember us. Thank you so much. Please do like, subscribe, Cricket 360. We will be bringing you more editions of this in terms as we review the games that we've been a part. It's been an exciting episode from myself, Tawanda Eli, Innocent Daula, Dennis Msari, John Pogo. Thank you so much, gentlemen. See you on the next one.